ChottoJapan! It's Charlotte here! Welcome to my new segment, ChottoJapan, which means a little of Japan. Here I will be going to tell you something about Japan in general, like culture, psychology, food and all that interesting stuff. This is the first episode and I hope you will like it and keep watching it. Thank you very much! In this episode, I'm gonna tell you something about Japanese don'ts. Don't do that. Please, never do the following things if you ever stay in Japan. Stay tuned. So, as you may have heard, in many Eastern Asian countries, they slurp and burp when eating. Burping in Japan is not okay. You can slurp as much as you want. Yeah, well, you should do it because then the chef knows he did a great job and you liked it. But please don't ever burp. That's considered rude. Tipping in Japan? Well, it can be generally said that there's no tipping in Japan. You should just not tip any person or service if you don't get an extra service, for instance. Don't blow your nose in public. It's considered very rude. And it's considered more hygienic to just sniff it up or wear a surgical mask like most of the people in Japan do. Many Japanese wear that mask because they want to avoid contagion when you have a cold. But actually, you may notice when you're in Japan that in spring the number of people wearing masks increases. And that's because many Japanese have pollen allergies and want to avoid having to cough and sneeze and something like that. Have you ever noticed in a Japanese anime or video game that when people come home from school or work, they take off their shoes when entering? And that's what you should do. And please note that you should put your shoes in the right direction. Not one direction, but the right direction. So, let's see. You're about to enter a Japanese home. Here in the entrance area, you put off your shoes. And you pull them off and place them here like this. So they're in the right direction that when you want to leave the house, you go in, you slip into your shoes and leave. Don't point at people directly. In Japan, many hand gestures are different than they are here in the West. For example, when Japanese people point at themselves, they don't do this, they do something like that, they point at their nose. And you shouldn't point at people with your index finger like this. Well, you should just take your palm like this, palm, and then you point toward the person you want to show the other one, like this. こちらはカメラです. Something like that. Taking a seat before being offered one. When you meet up with a Japanese person at home or at the restaurant, you should wait for them to offer you a seat. Well, you are the guest. You are going to be offered the best seat anyways, but Japanese people are very cautious of where somebody sits. Don't forget to add san at the end of a person's name, honorific. It has something to do with keigo, which is a very polite Japanese way of speaking. It is just common that way in Japan, and you are being considered rude to leave it out. Passing something with chopsticks directly. You shouldn't do that. When passing food, you should firstly put the food down on an extra plate and then the other person should take it. That's the way you normally do it. Even when taking your own food, you just don't take it from the main plate and stuff it in, you take it from this plate, on your plate, and then you're gonna eat it. But don't just be like this, okay? Don't do that. You should absolutely not be late on your appointment, because when you are, people think they don't mean much to you and you don't like them. And if you have an appointment in Japan, make sure to be there 5 minutes early, just to be cautious, you know. Talking loudly in Japan. Have you ever heard of Japanese thinking that Westerners are especially loud or impolite? Well, that's because they think you speak way too loud in public. Japanese keep their voices down in trains and on the street. Sticking your chopsticks vertically in a bowl of rice. This is only done at funerals in Japan, so it's considered really inappropriate and people won't like that. Funerals, you know, nobody likes that, being reminded of a dead person. And while we're at it, you shouldn't point at people with your chopsticks either. If you have got any ideas or suggestions what I should be going to talk about next, leave a comment below. Thank you very much for watching and have a nice day. Sayonara, minasan! Mata ashita o mata ne! Sticking your chopsticks